So the fourth and final game of the February 1993 LSAT tells us that an official is assigning 5 runners, Larry, Ned, Olivia, Patricia, and Sonia, to parallel running lanes numbered 1 through 5. It then tells us that the official is also going to assign each runner to a different charity. And again, these charities are F, G, H, J, and K, but not necessarily in that order. So notice that this official is assigning a charity and a runner for each of these 5 lanes, which gives us a multi-linear setup here. So now let's turn our attention to the conditions. The first condition tells us that the runner representing K is assigned to lane 4. Pretty straightforward. The next condition tells us that Patricia is assigned to the only lane between the lanes of the runners representing F and G. All right, so what's happening with the second condition is that we don't know the order of F and G, but we do know that they're going to be split off by exactly 1 lane, and the runner assigned to that lane is going to be P. So we have this block. All right, and notice that that allows us to conclude a number of things. First, we cannot have Patricia 3rd, and we cannot have Patricia 5th, and we also can't have Patricia 1st. So the only 2 possibilities for Patricia are 2 and 4. So let's draw those out. All right, so in the first scenario, we're going to put Patricia in 2, which would put F and G in 1 and 3 respectively. In our second possibility, we're going to put Patricia in 4, which is going to put F and G in 3 and 5 respectively. So we're able to conclude a great deal just based on that second rule. Turning our attention now to the remaining conditions, the third condition tells us that there are exactly 2 lanes between Olivia's lane and the lane of the runner representing G. So again, we don't know the order of O and G, so there's 2 possibilities here. First, we have O appear first, and then again, 2 lanes later, we're going to see G. Or the possibility would exist that we have G appear first, 2 lanes later, we're going to see O. All right, so what does that allow us to conclude? Well, we should notice that we can't have O be first because that would place G in 4, but we already have K in 4. So again, O can't be first. And then we should also notice that G cannot be placed in the 3rd lane. Because if G was in the 3rd lane, we wouldn't have room for O on either side. So G cannot be 3rd, and you notice what that does to our 2 scenarios. If G can't be 3rd, then in both of these scenarios, F is going to be 3rd, which means that in scenario 1, we would have G first, and again, we know 2 lanes after is going to have to be O, placing O and K. In our second scenario, we're going to have G 5th. Again, O would have to be 2 lanes before, placing O in 2. And then lastly, turning our attention to our 4th and final condition, Sonia is assigned to a higher numbered lane than the lane to which Ned is assigned to. So Sonia is coming after Ned, which again allows us to conclude that we can't have S first and we can't have Ned 5th. So in our first scenario, again, if we can't have S first, the only 2 possibilities that remain since we've placed O and P are L and N. And similarly, since we cannot have N appear 5th, we know that L or S would have to be the only possibilities for the 5th position. And then in our second scenario, again, if we know S can't be first, we know the only possibilities would be L and N since we've already placed O and P. And same logic on the other side. If N can't be 5th, the only 2 possibilities would be L and S. And that would be the setup for this game.